What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. It's your host, Brent Bilski, a.k.a. Double B, a.k.a. the 110 Soldier. Too many activities to get into today to waste any time. Shohei Ohtani. Saw him in person. I saw the show live, and there's only one show MLB can give me. I'll let you know my World Series prediction and what it better be in just a little bit here. I want to kick around the idea of when a kicker will be worth a first-round pick. Some things happened in the NFL and in college and the NFL. I'm going to let you know why I think Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders could and should reunite in the not-too-distant future. But let's start things off with, of course, where I'm going to go as a fan of this team and this girl. It's over. Pop it up, Corey. Pop the first picture up. They're not quite there yet.
And it's gone.
Indiana Fever, their fever has subsided. They were eliminated by the Connecticut Sun 2-0 in a sweep in the first round of the playoffs. Now, let me say, for one, that 2-1 format is bullshit. WNBA, we got to fix that by next year. I didn't even know that due to financial constraints that you would able to have a 3-game series where the first 2 games are at home and you don't get a home game as the road team until the third game, which is not obviously always possible, as we just saw with the Indiana Fever. So that sucks. That's crazy. Y'all need to get rid of that. By the way, you are getting with the new television contracts with Caitlin and Angel and everybody else, you're very welcome. You're going to have enough money. You have enough revenue now. You should be able to make it a typical 1-1-1 format. Not only that, you should extend it to 5 first rounds, 7-7, and make it more like the NBA. You got the money to do it. Let's make sure by next year you get that done.
Money.
First pitch.
Money.
But just in general, the Indiana Fever and Caitlin, look, they were a team ahead of schedule. They were actually, a fun watch this year. I loved watching them do their thing. But, they weren't quite there yet. This is the third youngest team in the WNBA, and they had 0 games of playoff experience in their starting 5. That's the first time we've ever seen that since 2003 with, I think, the Minnesota Lynx. So it's been a minute since you had nobody in the starting lineup with a single game of playoff experience, and they ran into a Connecticut Sun that didn't just have experience. They had over 200 games of playoff experience between their starting 5. So, look, they're a young team. They ran against a veteran team. They got bullied. They have holes. They got things they need to work on. Of course, they are led by the 2 consecutive number 1 picks, Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, but both those girls are just 22 years old. They still got a while to get to their prime. To give you an idea, A'ja Wilson, MVP this year's 28. Brianna Stewart, the 2-time MVP before that's 30. Diana Taurasi's 42. They're almost just half. You can combine their ages and make them damn near what Diana Taurasi is in age. That's how young the leaders of this team are. You got to remember this, too. Caitlin Clark, a lot of people forgot about this. Her year started in college. She wasn't done at Iowa until the end of March. This girl was just recently not in Final Fours. She was also taking finals. Like, she just came from college damn near, 6 months ago and has been able to make the run that she is. So, you got to remember, she is just getting used to this entire thing here. And the team itself, look, they won 30 games in the past 4 years before this run. They had not made the playoffs in the last 8 years and went from 1-8 to start the season. They got a little break and ended up 19-12 for the rest of the season. They had a hot girl summer, man. Attendance was up 4,000 to 17,000, up 246% ticket sales. 19 games peaked at 1 million viewers. They had none of those in the entire WNBA last year. So they're hot, they're fun, but they're young, they're inexperienced. They got holes they need to fill. Literally, the team, some of the biggest things here, and I love what the general manager, Livy Dunn, did say after the season was over last night, is that they are in win now phase. I love hearing that because that's absolutely what they need to do. You guys got to win now. There are too many teams, and I could go on a long list, but I won't do it. That'll let you know you can go from being the up-and-comer to suddenly, old and washed very damn quickly. So, yes, you have everything you need right now to make a push. Make your push now. I am loving it. I fully support it. You got Kelsey. Now, this is the big thing here as you look at the pictures. This is basically the foundation of what we have. You got Caitlin in the middle, Aaliyah, and Kelsey. Now, Kelsey is a free agent this year. However, general manager Liv Dunn said not only are we trying to win now, we're already in talks with Kelsey Mitchell. She did say she wants to explore a little bit her 19.2 points per game, and my fellow Splash sister along with Caitlin, I would hate to see her go, and I hope Indiana is able to offer what they need to do to keep her here. So that's rule number 1. You got to make sure Kelsey stays in the house. Aaliyah and Caitlin are under contract because they just got picked, a year and 2 years ago, so they're fine. Other than that, they got things they need to add, and the other ones like Nalissa Smith, I would actually put her out in a trade right now. She's been kind of, she's okay, along with Temi Fagbenle is also a unrestricted free agent. They're good, but they're not something that like, oh no, I can't believe we don't have them anymore. I like Lexi Hull, but she's not a starter. She needs to come off the bench. So that's another thing we need to do. Kelsey that's why I have the bench there. She needs to be on the bench role here. This is a fun, so far, up-tempo, fast team that has a lot of chemistry and a lot of good things going for them. But in the end, they're like the early Golden State Warriors. They need a bench really, really bad. You look at all the top dogs, they all got a much deeper bench than the Indiana Fever. They need taller 3-and-D wing players to offset the short backcourt, hopefully, if they can keep Kelsey and get Caitlin Clark back. They need interior scoring like crazy. Aaliyah, I love you, but you're inconsistent inside. And they still just need one more. They need one more other big to be able to score, block shots, and be able to do things to make things a little easier when it comes playoff time. So they need shooters, they need height, they need 3-and-D, they need veterans, they need ass kickers. The only one that really put up a fight was Erica Wheeler. I hope we can keep her too. She's an unrestricted free agent. But those are the things I would like to see them add in either free agency or through trades. Next year they have 3 draft picks. Trade them all. Again, this is a win-now team that needs veterans. We do not need any more young players. This is the 3rd youngest team in the entire WNBA. We don't need any more young players. We need some older, veteran, taller, shooter, ass kickers, leaders, those type of people that can fit into Kelsey, Caitlin, and Aaliyah Boston. That's what we need to surround these people. So I would love to see, Wallace, who was useless this year, and Alyssa Smith be packaged with those draft picks. Let's see what we can get for them in a trade maybe. They have $650,000 in cap space, which I know doesn't sound like much, but when you consider that the max WNBA contract is $250, we could bring in some big names too in free agency. We got money to spend. The big one I would like to see is that Sabally girl out of Dallas. I think she would fit in like a glove here. We can maybe go for big names. We just played Connecticut. Thomas and Bonner and Brianna Jones are all on the free agency list. Brianna Stewart out in New York is an unrestricted free agent. Now, that's obviously, wishful thinking, but that's at least a possibility. Get some big free agents, get some veterans, get some older people here, get some experience. We do not need any more young people. Please just trade away all our draft picks and some of the bench players we're not using. Let's go into win now. We got to win now. It is always time to go get it when you got the chance to get it. Do not be patient. Do not try to trust the process. None of that shit. I want them to go for it, going by next year, because, man, it did, though. It broke my heart. It broke my heart. Corey, me and my girl, we were sad, man. We were crying. We weren't really crying, but we were kind of crying. There's a different level of, it's interesting, cheering for women as hard as I did, the way I cheer for the Warriors or anybody else. Like, I feel sadder. I do. I feel a little like, oh, my girls are going to be, they lost, and now we're going to lose players. And it's just kind of the way things go. But definitely need to add more youth, definitely need to add more veterans, more experience, bigger girls, all that type of stuff. So, all that being said, let's go to this next picture here, because no matter what happens, I was able to talk about this before, but I'm going to say it again. I hope that Sheryl Swoopes was as full of shit as most people think she is, because she made the claim, and I'm wondering if it's happening behind the scenes, that some of the Indiana Fever players are a little bit upset at all the shine Caitlin was getting. And so my point, and I got the Jerry Maguire kid waving to you, if anybody on the Indiana Fever right now in this offseason wants to leave, there's the door. Go ahead and go. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, because this team is winning. They're making money. They're having fun. They're the hottest team in professional sports right now, not even joking. I mean, the Caitlin effect, Michael Jordan, Major League Baseball, Tiger Golf, LeBron or Magic, their rookie year. It's a short list of being on some of the hottest, most popular teams because of one player being added to it. So please, I hope that Sheryl Swoopes is talking completely out her ass, because not only that, they're winning. That's the other thing, too. It's not just like they're getting attention. They are winning games. They made their first playoffs in 8 years. They were, like I said, they only won 20 games for 4 years. 2022 to 2020, they won more games this year than those 3 years combined. I mean, this is a team that's going somewhere, and, the money in attendance, it's unheard of. It truly is. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, LeBron, Magic. It's hard to find people that had an effect the way Caitlin did this year. I mean, to give you an idea, and I'll explain it, they were bigger than Victor Wembanyama in the NBA going to the Spurs. I'll explain that in a second. But like I said, if you want to leave the team that's not only winning games, but currently attendance is up 246%, they went from 4,000 people on average to 17,000 people on average. How big of attendance difference is that? They have a higher attendance this year for home games than the NBA Indiana Pacers in their same city. I'm going to repeat that again. The Indiana Fever got better attendance at their home games than the Indiana Pacers, the NBA team, in their same city. That has never happened before, and I don't know when that's going to happen again. And the Pacers don't even suck. They got Halliburton. He's an Olympian. They made the playoffs. They beat the Knicks. Pacers are a good team. The ladies outsold them in their own city this year. They are actually higher in attendance than 5 NBA teams, not just the Pacers, but also the Hawks, the Wizards, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Charlotte Hornets. 38 of their 40 national television games were this year. 38 of their 40 were nationally televised. And as you see from the chart, 19 of those had 1 million viewers. Again, nobody last year in the WNBA got 1 million viewers. They had 19. Not to mention there was only 2 other games this year in the entire WNBA that barely touched 1 million, which is what they basically averaged. And those games were on ABC and like ESPN. They were getting better ratings on the Ion network on average. That 1.18 they averaged over the entire season, million viewers. That is more than Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs got this year. I mean, that's holy shit impact, man. Victor was a big deal. Victor Wembanyama was a big deal. Everyone was talking about him, the alien coming in. He did not average the ratings Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever did. And again, oh, by the way, he got to be on ESPN, TNT. She was on the damn Ion network and NBA television. So, and then throw in, too, by the way, 800 million social views from April to July. That was more social media attention than any NBA team, Major League Baseball team, NHL team, or NFL team. So if anybody on this roster wants to leave a team that's up 246% in attendance, that's outselling home games versus the Indiana Pacers and 5 other NBA teams, that is making more money and getting more social attention than any other team, NBA, NHL, MLB, NBA included, from April to July. Do you get what I'm saying? If you want to go average 2 more points and get a little more shine and a little less pressure on the damn Washington Mystics or the Atlanta Dream, have at it. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on the way out, because god dang it, there has to be a line a mile long to join this team that's not just winning games, but making money and setting all types of records. So if you want to leave, bye-bye. That being said, Caitlin is done for the year. And again, I'm depressed about it. But let's review what Caitlin did again this year. Again, she started this year in college. That is the craziest part to think about all this. She started her year in March and April. She was still playing for Iowa. She was still taking finals, courses. Hopefully she actually went to class. Probably didn't need to. But she started her year off in college and has already set so many WNBA records and milestones. Please go to this next picture here for me, Corey, because you got to see this. Somebody put this one up. There it is. All right. So I want Everybody right now, I want you to look at that picture. All that little print, all that fine print, just so you know, as the arrows point up and explain to you, are all of Caitlin's milestones and records in just one season in 40 games where she was just in college 6 months ago. She was able to accomplish all of that in 3 damn months. And the list is too long to read everything, but I'll give you at least a little bit of it.
And I read.
Corey, if you can go ahead and go to the video here for me for a second. Like I said, these are all the milestones and accomplishments. I won't give you all of them, but it's a lot.
And I read.
Unanimous Rookie of the Year, first team all NBA. She was the first rookie, by the way, in the playoff game to have 25, 5, and 5 in a game. Of course, a lot of y'all know she led the WNBA in assists. She has the most total points created for a season all time. She has the most points ever scored by a rookie. She was the fastest 350 points, 150 assists in history. She's the youngest player ever to have 35 and 5 with 5 threes in a game. She's the only player ever to have 700 points and 300 assists in a season. She has the most points scored by a point guard in WNBA history. She's the only rookie ever to get a triple-double. Matter of fact, she has 2. That's now more than 99% of other players' in WNBA careers. Good God, I'll try to keep going. First rookie to record 35, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks in the game. She's the all-time franchise record for point and assist double-doubles. She has the most 15.5 assist games for a rookie in a season. She tied the fastest player to reach 200 assists of all time. She's the fastest player to reach 400 points and 200 assists of all time. She's the most points scored or assists in a single game in WNBA history. The first player with 20 points, 15 assists, and 5 rebounds ever in a WNBA game. She has tied the record for most assists in a half ever. She's the only player in WNBA history to record 50 points and 25 assists in a 2-game span. She has the rookie record for most 3 points made in a season. Matter of fact, she has the second most single-season 3-pointers made ever in WNBA history. Look at that list. I can just keep going and just basically boring you with the amount of things that she accomplished in 40 games and 3 months. She's already had a better career than a lot of people. So she definitely shut the world up. She definitely shut up the critics. She has not won a title, and obviously that's going to be next on the list. Hopefully they get some talent this offseason for the Indiana Fever to pull that off. But Caitlin Clark has done her thing, and the coolest part about all this is give her 7 months. This girl improved from a 2-week Olympic break on just ridiculous levels. Imagine when you give her 7 months off and no college and nothing else to worry about. 7 months to focus on the rest of you WNBA teams and girls and players and competition. Caitlin and the crew are coming back for your neck next year. They're going to come back more stacked. They're going to come back more ready. Caitlin's going to kick your ass, and I can't wait to see it. Go Fever! As far as the rest of the WNBA season, I'm not going to lie, I don't give a shit. I don't know what to tell you. I don't care. And I'm very curious, by the way, to see how WNBA ratings playoffs do without Caitlin or Angel up in the mix. That'll be a very interesting thing for me to see. Another interesting thing for me to see, because I got, again, a lot to get into, and I don't have a lot of time to do it. This was fascinating, and I'm going to maybe step on some toes here, but I'm sorry. This was interesting to me. Corey, if you can get this next picture. Let me explain. So first of all, when I put up my last Caitlin video about Cheryl and some of the stuff that she had said, so many of the comments were like, oh, they hate on her because she's white. They hate on her because she's straight. The straight part was interesting.
Because he's
the
white.
Part,
he is white. Look at him, man. What you want?
There's been plenty of white stars before Caitlin. I don't think that's fair, and Cheryl hasn't been against all of those players. The straight white girl part is interesting because in the most recent poll done openly, 38% of the WNBA is lesbian. It's just something that is a different world, different universe than the NBA. And so this WNBA playoff series that we just saw, though, was even more fascinating because, it was like straight out of a soap opera. This was some interesting stuff. The Fever-Sun series, besides the action on the court, which is very compelling, I'm going to call this a couple of issues because there was so much going on. It wasn't just that the teammates, Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner, we're used to that, seeing that if you're a WNBA fan, as I got Allie and Courtney from the Sky, Phoenix Mercury. There's been a lot of couples together as teammates. But not only in this situation was Alyssa and DeWanna teammates in a relationship. There was also opposing teammates in a relationship because DeJounte Carrington and Alyssa Smith were in a relationship, and they played for opposite teams. And the opposing assistant coaches were on opposing teams as well. So you didn't just have teammates dating, you had opposing teammates dating, you had assistant coaches dating each other. This is crazy. I've never, as a sports fan, just joined the WNBA, never had to experience or deal with any of this, and it's an interesting thing to consider because don't ever tell me relationships don't matter. This is one thing, even, if you watch NBA, NFL, everything else, relationships and friendships even are important and create different dynamics. People argue, people fight, people go through things. Now you have a situation in just one single game where all this is happening, where players are dating, opposing players are dating, assistant coaches are dating. That's just something you've never seen on the other side of the aisle. And it's too bad because that would be absolutely fascinating. NFL's never had, Michael Sam learned this lesson the hard way. There's been a lot of closeted, issues and all that. But just to imagine, if you could think about it, how interesting and fascinating it would be. Like the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants are playing each other tonight. Imagine if, Dak and CeeDee were engaged and then they were arguing about they need more balls coming their way and all that. Then you had, Micah Parsons and Daniel Jones, worried about that situation because they're fresh off their honeymoon. Then you have the offensive coordinator, Schottenheimer and Bowen, who are also in a relationship, and we worry about, how our dinner conversation's going. Did anyone pass along any information? Do you see what I'm saying? Like that, it would just be fascinating because I would love to see Joe Sixpack's head explode trying to deal with all this. It would be just an absolute, it would be interesting. It would be curious to see. It is something that is some of the many things that WNBA has to deal with that NBA, NFL, and other ones don't, that their fan bases don't. And it's something that, I'm sorry, I don't know. It's new, it's different. I'm always looking for something to talk about. I thought that was a very just cool little side note there. But, even the jokes and imagining aside, again, if you think about this type of stuff, and in the WNBA in the future, stars have power in the NBA. And with the WNBA getting more attendance, getting more ratings, getting more attention, getting more money, it's going to probably become like the NBA where stars get to say and kind of have, a say-so in who does what and who goes where. So, like, if you can put this picture up here for me, Corey, like the one I think about, I'm a Golden State Warriors fan. Like, just imagine if Steph Curry and Klay Thompson weren't just Splash Brothers for a decade and friends, but if they were married. I mean, Klay would still be there. He wouldn't be in Dallas. Steph Curry is the number one thing the Warriors consider in any move that they make. If Steph Curry and Klay were actually engaged or married, and they were like, hey, we're thinking about trading Klay, or we're thinking about letting him go in free agency, Steph would be like, bitch, we just bought a house. We just adopted a second child. Klay ain't going nowhere. Now, I don't know in the end if that's going to be good or bad if he would have stayed for the Golden State Warriors, but there's no way in hell if they were actually a couple that Steph would ever let him go. He'd be like, you're out of your damn mind. You're not letting my husband go. You know what I mean? You think of Giannis and Thanasis in Milwaukee just as brothers. Imagine, having teammates. It is a different world. It is something that, the WNBA has so many difficulties that the men don't have to think about. This is just another one that I include into the list. So after learning about, again, the Sun Fever series where everybody, there's all sorts of complicated relationships and triangles and this and that and things to discuss, it just made me think about, God, the male sports world has never had to deal with this. And if they did, it would be so funny to see because their heads would just pop out of their necks. It would explode.
Don't be gay.
Explode.
Don't be gay, Spark. Don't be gay.
Moving on. Let me get to, I guess I'm done with the WNBA now. I think I've covered that subject here enough. I want to get into another topic, go to NFL, and I want to get into a little bit of college and NFL here. But the first thing I want to get into, I want to talk about the kickers. Hit this for me, Corey. I want to talk about the kickers and how they get no respect.
No respect, no respect, no respect, no respect.
Personal pet peeve of mine. I've never thought, so many idiots. Pat McAfee, shout out to Pat McAfee. He does a good job of this now where he has the he'll let people before college game day, he'll let the idiot fans, they can win like a $50,000, $100,000, try to kick a 20-yard field goal. They can't even get the ball off the ground. It is the most disrespected job in all professional sports, in my opinion. One of the hardest things to do and one of the most mentally stressing problems. I mean, how most of them don't just go completely insane. And I mean, with all the pressure that they get, it's the only job I know, even in sports, where you're supposed to be 100% or you suck or you should be fired. You only have one job, kick the ball, you miss the field goal, die. Kickers get no respect.
No respect, no respect, no respect.
Football players don't give him respect. I have a brother's a football player. He never gives a kicker their respect. So something has happened, though, and it's continuing an argument I want to make of why I think kickers eventually are going to be worthy of a first-round pick. One of the biggest debates and shocking things I guess I've ever said as a sports analyst is that I think kickers are worth draft picks. For some reason, that's the craziest thing anybody's ever said. Everyone thinks I'm out of my mind. But there is something going on and a trend. I'm going to make the argument again. This will happen soon, and this will be worth a first-round pick. I have seen 3 kicks now in the last month of 64 yards or more. One of them was a college kid, a kid named Shohei from Temple, and 2 of them now are by the Cowboys kickers. Talk more Cowboys in a second, and Brandon Aubrey. Now, that is 10 years. So that's 3 in the last, I would say, again, about a month or so. And then also, if you look at just the evolution of the 50-yard field goal kick, in 2000, to give you an idea of how quickly the distance is moving back, this is what I'm trying to get into here. As far as the distance going backwards and becoming more and more common to hit a deeper and deeper field goal. In the year 2000, only 38 were made from 50 yards or more. In 2010, it got up to 59. In 2020, there was over 125 kicks from 50 yards or more. It became average. Matter of fact, starting week 1 this NFL season, there was 21 of 23 completed from 50 yards or more. That was a record at 91%. And Aubrey, the kicker I'm bringing up who's kicking 60-yarders, was able to go 16 of 16 so far in his career from 50 yards or more. So what am I trying to say? I'm saying that you started at 40 yards. That used to be the common thing. Now we've moved it back. Now it's becoming more common where the 50-yard kick is becoming an everyday, normal, expected thing. When we get to 60 yards as an average, normal, and you can get somebody 80 to 90% from that level, which is coming if you follow the evolution of the kicks and percentages and how they're going. And again, I just saw 3 this year that have already happened from 60 yards or more, one of them being a collegiate kid. When that happens, that player is going to be, the kicker is going to be the most valuable player on your team, not named the quarterback. And I can give you a statistical reason why.
You the real MVP.
And if you can hit this video here for me. So again, My theory goes that I'm saying in the next 5 to 10 years, as we've seen so far with the 40 to 50-yard kick, we are going to have consistent field goal kickers who can hit it consistently from 60 yards or more. When that happens, they are going to be the most valuable player, not named your quarterback, and they're going to be worth first-round picks, and they're going to be worth a lot of money. Why? Because the average team in the NFL, on average, will punt 5 to 6 times per game. About 3 of those are usually from the 50-yard line. If you have somebody who can do what Aubrey and these kids are doing and hit a 60-yard field goal, all you need to do is make it to the 50 every time to be able to consist. So if he's hitting 80, 90%, to give you an idea, you put all those numbers together, 80% from 60 to 65 yards, that's 4 field goal attempts per game. That is 7.2 more points per game. That means your kicker by himself will average a touchdown, at least points-wise, per game. He will be the only then non-quarterback, like from last year, 2023, only 2 players that were not quarterbacks are more valuable than that. That was Raheem Mostert and Christian McCaffrey. They're the only ones who average more than 7.2 points per game addition just by themselves. That is not just a significant impact. That is the level of taking you from a shit team to a playoff team. 7 points just added to you by one guy because he can consistently kick a 60-yard field goal. That means all you got to do is make it to the damn 50-yard line. If he's kicking 80, 90% the way people now are from 50 yards, do you follow where I'm going? If you don't trade a first-round pick for that, you are absolutely out of your goddamn mind. This is going to happen. This evolution of kicking is going to continue, and I'm telling you, in the next 5 to 10 years, when this goes down and when this becomes important, all the analytics come back and tell you they are now the most valuable player on your team, not named the quarterback, at least by points per game. Remember who told you, because I am tired of y'all disrespecting this position. I am tired of y'all saying it's the easiest thing in the world to do. It's not. It's valuable. It's important. It's something that most people can't even fathom doing. You watch people try to do it. You suck ass at it. They're going to get their money. They're going to get their respect finally, and I'll be happy to see it because it's something that's been needed to happen for a very long time. I watch game after game, ended by field goals. Anyways, I'll move on. That was my last point, is that eventually you're going to see the consistent 60-yard field goal kicker, and he's going to be worth a first-round pick, absolutely, because he will be the most valuable player in your team. It's not the quarterback. All right, we can move on to the next video here. Let me get into one more thing, NFL college-related. I want to talk about the Cowboys.
Like a rhinestone cowboy.
I want to talk about the Cowboys. I want to talk about Jerry Jones, because you truly are becoming the rhinestone Cowboys. All glitz, no grit. And, you got your game against the Giants today. Look, win or lose really doesn't matter. It's a 1-2 team versus a 1-2 team. It's not going to mean much, because in the end, you guys are supposed to be going for Super Bowls. Every time I hear a Dallas Cowboys fan talk, they're always talking Super Bowl.
Super Bowl time.
You're not going to the Super Bowl. We found that out in the first 3 games already this season. You were some rhinestone Cowboys. You were all glitz. You were no grit whatsoever. The only way you can win, as everyone's discussed this week, you got to get ahead early. Your front runners, your bullies, because that way, if you can get an early lead, the strategy goes, you got the pass rushers, you put them in the passing game, you rush them, you beat them that way. The problem is, as you've come to find out, is that you can't stop the run for shit, you can't run the ball for shit, and you can't get that early lead necessary, so you're getting your ass kicked in embarrassing fashion, 2 losses straight at home. You are absolutely not doing your thing in Cowboys land. Texans are clearly the best team in Texas right now, and by the way, your defense, because of their holes, is allowing the most rush yards in the NFL. Your offense is the 3rd worst in rushing as far as yards per carry and rush yards per game in the entire league. You are some rhinestone Cowboys.
Like a rhinestone
I don't know what to tell you. This ain't the year. I don't even know if you'll make the playoffs well enough to Super Bowl. It is just not happening. And it's interesting because it's not just the Cowboys on the field melting down. Jerry Jones, oh boy, Jerry Jones, I got to pop this up. Jerry did his best Donald Sterling impression. Corey, if you can get to this next video here for me. Someone called Diddy out there. This was, it was Jamie Foxx and Jerry Jones, and they're talking about the team, and I'll just play it, and you can hear it yourself. Jamie tried to cut it off, but we all heard it. Hit it.
Good right there. He showed balance. 5'9.5", 210.
5'9", 210.
4'1".
Okay.
9 and 3-inch head. 8.5-inch dick. 8.5-inch dick. 8.5-inch dick. 8.5-inch dick.
He tried to cut it off, but everybody got it on the internet. You heard him clear as day. I mean, good God, Jerry, why don't you just call them thoroughbreds while you're at it? I mean, oh, look at the body on him, 6'4", too. He runs fast.
You have some mighty strong-looking workers here, sir. I'd be willing to offer you $40 for 2 of the white ones and $50 for the blacks.
Jerry Jones is like the epitome of like if Django was a real life situation. Jesus Christ, Jerry. So that's going on the sidelines. You got Jerry talking about their dick sizes. You can't stop the run. You can't win any games. You play the Giants today, and it really in a who gives a shit game because neither one of y'all look like you're going to come out of the NFC East playoffs, anything close to it. So with all the struggles going on in Cowboys land, I have a solution. After this year is over, and I want y'all to hear me out as I will cut to the next video, if you can pop this one up here for me. I have the solution. Send Deion Sanders and Sheduer to the Cowboys. Deion Sanders and Sheduer Sanders, it is time you join the circus. Come on down. Why not? And I'm only half kidding with this. I am only half joking when I say that Deion Sanders and Sheduer need to come join the Dallas Cowboys. And again, I'll tell you why, because I think I have some legitimate reasons here. For one, the fact is you're not going anywhere this season, and Mike McCarthy is a lame duck coach. After Mike McCarthy gets fired this year, a lot of y'all have it in your head that Bill Belichick is coming. Bill Belichick is not coming to save your day. Bill Belichick cannot touch you with a 10-foot pole. You got to remember, Bill Belichick has his own legacy to worry about. He has to worry about the fact that post-Tom and before Tom, he's never won very much. He cannot come here. I heard a great quote, and I'll steal it from somebody else. When a king joins the circus does not become a palace. The king becomes a clown. Bill Belichick cannot take that risk. He cannot join your circus. Deion, however, is not just a former Cowboy. He's a chip off the old block. If anybody can handle, the attention and the circus and ringleader style, it's Deion Sanders. And yes, I know Deion said he's not going to leave Colorado. He also said he's never going to leave Jackson State. Deion wears out his welcome a lot of places. He's a great spark, but he has a hard time staying longevity, both as a player as a coach. I don't know if I trust his word. Not to mention, Sheduer, his son, is going to be a top pick this year. Why don't the Cowboys draft him? And yes, I know you already have Dak Prescott, and you extend it to a long-term contract. However, look at what's going on around the league right now. Atlanta just, signed Penix, even though they had Cousins. You look at the people that just beat you last year, the Green Bay Packers. They're able to continually, take a young player and store him versus throw him out there like a Love or a Rodgers. Tom Brady just had that quote saying, why are these NFL teams throwing out these rookie quarterbacks too soon? This way you could take Sheduer, put him on the Cowboys, put him with his dad, let him learn behind him. And, even more than that, you both play the same style. Tell me if this doesn't sound familiar. The Colorado Buffaloes are no run, all pass, all circus. Colorado this year is 69th in rushing yards. They allow 148 yards per game rushing. They are 124th of 134 in rush yards per game. It's 72 on offense. They are dead last in most sacks allowed, but they are 5th in passing attempts. They are top 20 in passing yards per game. They are also all pass, no glitz, can't stop the run, can't run the ball, but they're fun to watch. Does any of this start ringing a bell yet? You guys are a match made in heaven. And who gives a shit about winning? Because both of you guys make so much damn money, it doesn't really matter.
Money, 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 money.
I want Deion Sanders and Sheduer on the Cowboys. It is not just a pipe dream. I am not just kidding. I am not just talking shit. I want to see it. Come on, Deion, come to the circus. Come to the circus. Why not? Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, that shit's boring. I want to see Sanders on the Cowboys and crew. I think it's actually not the craziest idea I've ever had. So, that being said, I want to talk a little bit more about Deion and Sheduer. Hit this next picture here for me. I got so many things to get into today. Like I said, I'm trying to stay busy here. It's fascinating watching Sheduer and Deion. I am torn consistently on Deion and Sheduer because they can be so good. And they can be, it's just, the apple doesn't fall far. Colorado Buffalo fans are finding this out. The apple does not fall far. The son is going to follow in the father's footsteps a little bit, where they can be so phenomenally impactful and help your program and help you win games. And then they just sometimes remember there's a me-in team and they got to get a little shine. They got to get a little flash. And it can rub your own teammates the wrong way. It can rub the fans the wrong way. And so I will say before I kind of attack, I have good and bad. Again, this is yin and yang for me. In defense of what Deion and Sheduer have done in Colorado, I have to reiterate, to people that have said things, and I've heard analysts say this. They've said things like, Deion's ruining Colorado. They're going to leave this program in shambles. This is just too much. This circus and everything else is just ruining Colorado You were one of the worst programs I've ever seen, and historically in the last 20 years. So I don't know where this comes from, this idea that you were like Alabama or Florida, and Deion came in here and ruined it. Deion and Sheduer came in here and not only gave you television ratings, they gave you more wins and more talent than you've seen in a very long time. 1990 was 34 years ago when you won that national title. You've not even won a bowl game in 20 years. You've only been to 4 bowl games in the last 20. Your last Heisman winner was 1994. You've had no All-Americans since 2010. The year before Sanders and crew showed up, you were 1-11 and lost your last 6 by an average of 51-16. So excuse me with this like, oh, Deion's going to lead the program in shambles. What program? What the hell are you talking about? But Deion is Deion. He does do things. His son does do things that can sometimes make you wonder. And, even the novelty of the prime time and everything else from last season is kind of worn off a little bit. The Colorado State rivalry game last year was 9.35 million viewers. It was down to 4.56 this year, so over a half level of drop of viewership. And I wasn't as fascinated, at least before the game, but I was after. And there's 2 things I want to get into here. I want to talk about Sheduer first, then I want to talk about Dad and kind of the effects that they can have on a program. Because, 2 weeks ago was an example of Sheduer in both sides, the good and the bad. So for people that missed it, I'll pop this video up one more time here. A lot of people might know this story by now. The big rivalry game, the quarterback, Braden Fowler Nicolosi, was talkie all weekend, and then they finally got to play each other. And so roll the film here. A lot of you guys might remember what happened.
I think it goes to show that the hype, the media train, all that, it only gets you so far. At the end of the day, you have to line up 11 guys against our 11 guys, and we'll find out who wants it more, and we'll see how far Instagram followers gets them.
We saw just how far. They dog-walked you. And in the last rivalry game for the next 5 years, they kicked your ass 28-9. Sheduer went off, by the way, 36-49, 310 yards, 4 touchdowns. Travis Hunter, the other stud of that team, 2 touchdowns and an interception because he plays both sides of the ball. But, I mean, look, they kicked your ass from to to fro, front to back to forth, all over the field, and they were talking shit the whole time doing it, too. You had Travis dancing. This is my favorite one. After this pick, he's going to run it back. They had 4 players at once get a penalty because they're all doing, group celebrations. It was giving the U, I'll quote the young kids, it was giving the old U of Miami. It was, just that swag, that shit talk. And look, I get it from Hunter, I get it from the defensive players, but it was what then Sheduer as the quarterback did after. This is, again, the good and bad of Sheduer, because this was Sheduer after all that to the quarterback of Colorado State.
You that same talking shit on Instagram. You talking on Instagram. All right, keep talking about business. You can't. You that same talking shit on Instagram. You talking on Instagram. All right, keep talking about business. You can't.
If anybody gets being petty and wanting to stick it to the guy that was talking shit to you, I totally understand this. But I will go to the famous movie Any Given Sunday.
You're not some flash in the pan, corner or receiver. You're goddamn quarterback.
You're the quarterback, man. It is not your job. That is the wide receiver's job. That's the running back's job. That's the linebacker's job. That's anybody else's job. Hell, that's the kicker's job. It is somebody else's job to rub it into the guy talking shit from the team that you just beat. The quarterback's job, it's more than just throwing the ball, man. You're the politician. You're the leader. You're the example that is set for the entire rest of that roster. And when you get into this stuff and you start getting into the, yeah, that's right, you can't fuck with me and all that other stuff, it's just, I get it. But I don't think it's a good look for the quarterback. Now, he had a phenomenal game, and so you can't, ignore that part, as he's going to be a top 3 quarterback taken most likely. He continues to play very well. Sheduer is a very, very talented 6'2", 215-pound quarterback who completes damn near 70% of his passes, and last year had 27 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. He's a good, smart, talented player who has all the gifts in the world and all the pedigree to do it. But this type of stuff is just, I get it, but it's not necessary. You're the quarterback.
You're not some flash in the pan, corner or receiver. You're goddamn quarterback.
So that's the yin and yang of Sheduer. Now, cut to this last week. It was even more fascinating because I thought Deion was going to be Deion, and instead he went back to being Coach Sanders. Again, they do a lot of positives as much as there's negatives here. So cut to this next video here for me, Corey. This was the Baylor game just this last week, and they were done. This game was done. They were washed out. They were about to lose to Baylor, hit it for me, and then a lot of y'all might have saw this. Somewhere Cordell Stewart was smiling because they hit a Hail Mary bomb with 2 seconds left to tie the game and send it into overtime. That play was nuts enough. But then the other stud on the team, Colorado's defensive back wide receiver Travis Hunter, makes this incredible stop at the goal line, as you see this right here. I mean, that ball was inches from getting in. He knocks it loose, becomes a touchback fumble recovery. Colorado wins the game. So they went on a Hail Mary. They went on a crazy fumble recovery. I thought we were going to see Deion from last year. I thought we were going to see this Deion.
You believe that? Hold on. Oh, no. Do you believe in that?
But
so I'm really proud of that. I want to apologize to the opposition, the way we stormed the field, and I didn't get an opportunity to go and shake the head coach's hand, but I did try to go over to the locker room and wait it out until he came out, but I don't think they got the word to him because that's not professional. I wanted to shake his hand and acknowledge, but I don't like what transpired at the end of the game, but I love what transpired at the end of the game. We have a fan base that's phenomenal. We have some young kids on this campus that loves and breathes CU football.
There you go. I mean, it's so crazy. It's the yin and yang of Sanders. I mean, Deion has been doing this since he was a baseball and football player, and, you know, the prime time to the great teammate to the great coach to sometimes overstepping boundaries. They are habitual line steppers, to quote the great late Charlie Murphy there. They are habitual line steppers, but they will both retract and do things that are positive as well. They're just fun to watch. I am always tuned into Colorado football. I'm going to be honest, I never gave a damn about Colorado football until they showed up. I will not care anymore after they leave, the same way I don't care about the WNBA with no Caitlin or Angel in it. You know, they bring something to it. They're a lot of fun. I would love to. I'm not even kidding. I want to see them in Dallas. I think that would actually work. I mean, McCarthy and everything else, why not let them just join the circus, bring them over to Dallas. Let's just have some fun. Be a great show. Be a lot of showtime. Segue there. Let me get to my last ones here, and I'm going to call it a day because I was able to see this. Hit the picture here for me, Corey. I was able to see Shohei Showtime Ohtani. I was able to see Shohei Showtime Ohtani in person, and he's as box office as I thought he'd be. Now, living in Los Angeles does have its benefits, and also having a beautiful, awesome, blonde girlfriend who was able to buy tickets for me early for my birthday to go see the Dodgers game, like I just happened this Monday to me, because your boy's got it like that, also has its benefits. So anyways, long story long, I got to be in the very close to the game on Monday to watch Shohei and the Dodgers do their thing. He's a star. He's a star. I don't know if the foreign aspect even helps with the mystique or kind of what makes him, because every star just kind of has a je ne sais quoi, a mystery, and just kind of a mythic kind of thing about them. Shohei has it to the point of, dude, it was 50,000 people, and I would say 90% of them had the Ohtani 17 on their back. I mean, you walked around the crowd, there was a buzz, there was excitement. The concession stands, by the way, you would go like dog stand, burger stand. They would have sushi. I went to the sushi one because they would have, in Japanese lettering, by the way, just to appease all of the Ohtani fans that are coming and visiting from other places. I mean, the influence this dude's had on Major League Baseball, I don't know, man. I mean, you hear about it. You heard about Ruth. You heard about, some of the legends of people that showed up places. Shohei Ohtani seems to have it like that. Now, unfortunately for your boy, I was there Monday. In case y'all missed it, it was the Padres game where, first of all, thanks to LA traffic, we missed the first hit he got, which was a double at the beginning of the game. But then by the time we got there, it was a kind of boring game, but it was 4-1 in the ninth. And they load the bases almost. They get men on first and second with no outs, and Shohei Ohtani's up next. And when I say the crowd is buzzing, I was there to feel it. Dude, suddenly, a kind of boring last 5 innings. Everyone, we're on our feet. We're chomping at the bit because it is only a 2-run game with 2 men on and no outs. And Shohei Ohtani is up next at bat. Everybody can feel it. This is coming off the 50-50. This is coming off the back-to-back home runs with Mookie Betts. We're going to get to see a game-winning home run, right? Well, what happened was what happened next. Corey, if you can pop this here for me. Rojas, for whatever reason, thought it was a good idea to swing away, hit it for me.
Rojas on the ground at third. Machado touches third, fires to second. Out at first. Oh my goodness! It's a triple play.
a triple play to end the game. Instead of seeing Ohtani get the bat with no outs and 2 men on, we got nobody to come back up because that was the first, at least historically, that I was able to find game-clinching triple play that not only won the game but sent the San Diego Padres to the playoffs. Some days just not your day. I want to see Shohei hit that game-winning home run. No such luck. And so we had to go ahead and call it. But he's Showtime. He's legit. And you're looking, how am I doing on time? Am I good? I'm doing good on time? All right, good, because I want to talk about Shohei for a minute. This guy, man, he has the buzz that I've only heard or seen about lately. Caitlin, Manziel, Tebow, Tom Brady, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, of course. I mean, there's certain people, Steph Curry, that have this kind of star power myth and legend that's not just talent. It's also the way that they do things and the way that they carry themselves. So I'll play this one more time. This is from last week, but when he joined the 50-50 club, I mean, this dude is something else, man. Shohei Ohtani, go ahead, hit it for me here. Shohei Ohtani, this is when he hit the 50-50.
In this guy.
Oh, my gosh! Shohei Ohtani! The greatest day in baseball history!
He might be the greatest player of all time, not even being superfluous or whatever you want to call it here. I mean, the dude is currently batting .303 with 53 home runs and 56 stolen bases. The mystique of him is also what I think about this. I don't just think about the way that he does it, and the fact that he's having these record-setting games, but there's an aura that you heard about with like Jeter, Ruth, Gehrig, Poppy, Bonds, Reggie Jackson in October. It's not just this game. It's when he, struck out Mike Trout last year in the World Baseball Classic, coming in relief for the first time in 5 years to win the entire World Baseball Classic for Japan, or as he joined the 40-40 club, hitting his first Grand Slam walk-off. Then he goes to this game to be the first one ever to join the 50-50 club. He doesn't just do it. He does it going 6 for 6 with 5 extra base hits, 2 stolen bases, 3 home runs, and 10 RBIs. Excuse me? He was the first player ever in its over 100-year history to have multiple home runs, multiple stolen bases, and 5 hits in a game. He's the only one ever to have 5 extra base hits and 10 RBIs in a game to set the all-time record for 50-50, and he is the only one to ever done it in Major League history, which means out of the other 23,000-plus players that have played in over their 100 years, no one has done what he did, and he did it having one of the best games the world has ever seen. And did I mention he can pitch? He's hurt this year, but Jesus Christ, just on that side alone, he would be one of the best players we've ever seen. This dude also is one of the best pitchers. He was 4th in the Cy Young voting just a year ago. I mean, this dude is insane. Shohei Ohtani, it sucks because it's baseball and a lot of us don't want to pay attention. This is the coolest thing going. I mean, this guy is absolutely just on his own one of the greatest phenomenons of any sport and maybe the greatest to ever do something in a sport that has a longer history than anybody else. Baseball has the longest history by far. You might be looking at the best baseball player of all time. It's not hyperbole. So I got to see it, even though they didn't win. It was a lot of fun. Speaking of seeing things, though, and I want to run this one more time, like I said, I have one World Series that I want to see, and it's involving not just Shohei. But this is the only one I'm allowing. This is the only one that can happen. Major League Baseball, we actually have a possibility for it. Matter of fact, they're both favorites. But if you can hit it for me, this is the only World Series that I want to see or that anybody else wants to see. I need Shohei. I need Judge. I need the 2 best teams. I need the 2 MVPs. I need the 2 most historic franchises, and I do not need what happened last year. The 2023 World Series, just so y'all know, was the least watched on record. Only 9.11 million viewers is absolutely embarrassing. You need stars, you need storylines, you need battles. There is no better story, probably in sports, than right now having the 2 biggest cities in New York and LA with the 2 biggest stars and one of the first times ever, easily unanimous MVPs on both sides, meet in the World Series. And oh, by the way, Aaron Judge has never made the World Series. Shohei Ohtani has never even been in the playoffs. This is the only thing Major League Baseball, I don't give a damn about making this fair. You better fix this because nobody's going to care. If you do anything like a Cleveland and Philly or a Baltimore and Milwaukee or an Astros in San Diego, you're going to have the same crap ratings you did last year. What you need to do and make sure it happens and make sure every casual fan like me will be on the edge of their seat. I could not wait. And they, by the way, said Ohtani might be able to pitch. They've been hinting at he might be ready at that point. These are clearly the two best players in baseball. You already know about Ohtani being the 50-50 club joiner. You know about everything he's doing. You should know that Judge is flirting with the first Triple Crown in 12 years, that he's batting .321. He has over 53 home runs. He's first in home runs, RBIs. He's the fastest player to 300 home runs in Major League Baseball history. Again, they are clearly the MVPs of both sides of the league, and they are clearly on the two best teams, and they are on the two biggest cities and franchises in baseball history as well. It's the Yankees, the Dodgers, it's Judge, it's Shohei. It's talent, it's MVPs, it's star power, it's everything. I mean, hell, the Dodgers used to be in Brooklyn. There's so many storylines here that you cannot screw this up. Baseball, just like I begged y'all to do in NCAA when I needed Caitlin and Angel to rematch one more time. Fix it, pay them. I don't give a damn what you got to do. Pay the umpires, pay everybody else. You got to, pay the players. I don't give a shit. The only World Series I'm watching, and I think a lot of us are going to watch, is if you give me Show, and you give me Judge, and you give me New York and LA to battle out. Anything else, I'm done. I don't care. You can pass it. I swear to God, if it's the Baltimore Orioles and like the Milwaukee Brewers, you might actually get worse. Even Astros-Padres. Astros-Padres might be under the $9 million you got last year in 2023. Give me those two teams. Let me see it happen. There we go. All right. That was, I think, my last point today. I think I'm done. Gotta go. Hopefully you'll be ready for the show next time. I don't know if I can break it like Shohei and Judge, but I always try. Talk to you then.